Ah, politics. The social order and ruling separating people throughout history into classes, creating barriers from one person to another based on bloodline, race, religion, military power, and wealth. I'll try to be as brief about this subject as I can be, but like it or not, it's a very important subject, and one with a history of problems that needs to be eventually solved, or will continue its reign of destruction until it has destroyed everything, including you, me, our future, and our planet. What I'm about to say is going to throw all forms of government under the bus. Enough is enough. This concept applies no matter where you're from. I'm from Canada. This definitely follows in the US, Europe, Asia, and anywhere on the planet. It also goes back thousands of years into our history. I doubt there will be a perfect, uniform answer the entire human race will agree on, but I do believe in order to evolve to the next level of human social progress, we need to accept whatever we think about government is wrong and needs to be reinvented. All governments do is tax and enforce policies and laws to funnel wealth from its citizens to the ruling class. Governments rob the well-being of its citizens in every imaginable way. The sooner we can address these problems, the better it will be for current and future generations. Is there any form of government better than another? On paper, just about all of them work in a perfect world scenario, at least in theory. The problem is not so much the theoretical concepts of organizing and distributing resources, rather the people who gravitate to positions of control and can make subtle little changes to the system for their own benefit. This tweaking of a system over time eventually breaks the system down. You know this as corruption, and it leads to the collapse of a government in a myriad of different ways, from resolution to economic collapse to being conquered from stronger governments. But what is the root issue here? The history of power has always been the rule of psychopaths. Throughout all of history, psychopaths have climbed the ladders of success to positions of power due to their inherent traits. They are reward and goal driven, persuasive and charming, sucking up to their superiors and gaining ranks. They appear to be emotionally stable and ready to make diverse action in the heat of a moment, all of which are great qualities of a leader, but they have darker sides of their personality too. They are very manipulative and cunning liars. They exhibit a lack of remorse or guilt, show a callous disregard for the feelings of others, and have no consciousness. They lack empathy and fail to accept responsibility for their actions. These are the types of people that have been ruling the world for millennia. We can't go on a witch hunt and eradicate these people from the world, as they represent approximately 70 million inhabitants, most of them in power, making it even harder to expel them. So what we need to do is not directly attack the government head on with force, or we will lose that battle, but change our way of living on the family level. We unite and vote with our actions that we can control. And as we grow, implement a system of government that significantly reduces the power and authority one single person can yield. I will address this better in my next video. Another major issue with governments is they have too many rules and laws. They are too complex and impossible to comprehend. Laws or rules are good when they solve problems, but they need to be written in such a way that our youth can understand. When the system relies on a complex language only lawyers and judges can understand, it makes it very easy for the rich people to mold and manipulate the system to bend and break laws to their benefit. It makes it impossible for the average person to know what is considered right or wrong in the eyes of the ruling class, and impossible yet to defend oneself against legal action concerning them. In the end, the party with the most financial resources usually wins the case without actually addressing right or wrong, moral or just merits. In the world around us, this bureaucratic system is embedded in everything we come in contact with. These rules affect every little part of our life, right down to the products we buy, the foods we eat, and the houses we live in, and who and how we have relationships with. It's in everything. Who knows how many rules and laws were made just on the subject of brushing your teeth? And none of this helps you because you don't see it. It's just the way things are, set in place by people we discussed earlier for their benefits, far out of sight and out of mind for you to even question. It's disgusting how inefficient governments spend your tax dollars. It's like giving your child your credit card and letting them hang out at the mall all by themselves all day. They will find the limit of your credit card, and when they do, they will whine when they can't get more. And how would that make you feel? You worked hard for your money, and they spend it like they stole it. Governments are no different. It's not their money they earned, so they just spend and spend until they are grossly over debt. Then they have the audacity to increase taxes or dissolve spending on critical funding like education and healthcare. They're not just a bunch of irresponsible kids, they're criminal because it's the laws they make and enforce. Here's a quick example, but if you did your own research on it, you could probably spend your entire life recording and categorizing the numerous examples and still not record them all. Maybe you've heard of the $143 to install a pencil sharpener that a Toronto District School Board charged taxpayers. $17 for the sharpener, the rest for labor costs to screw in a few screws. Or what about the installation of that sign on the school's front lawn? $19,000! And this is just some chump change on the bottom end. What about the billions and trillions federal governments embezzle from taxpayers when you add it all up? Governments are a lot like large corporations. They are made up of effectively hundreds of smaller businesses and departments. Only when you combine them under one name for branding purposes and legal control do you get a holding company. A holding company in of itself does not provide any services or benefits to be sold. They are managed by a board of directors. This board of directors' key purpose is to ensure the company's prosperity by directing the company's affairs, while satisfying the interests of its shareholders and stakeholders. In other words, rich people sit around and dictate what the subsidiary companies do to make more profits for other rich people. Why is this important? Have you ever worked for a company and a new policy or change comes in from the executive management from out of the country and thought, have they ever worked a day on the floor? This is a stupid policy and it'll just create more problems. All too often, when you work for a company and want to work your way up the corporate ladder, the furthest you can go through your experience with the company is middle management. There's a ceiling that prevents you from going any further. That next step usually requires insider employment and a different background in education. Being good at golf will go a long ways to getting in that insider's club, but it's mostly on who you know. So what does that mean? The world is run by a special club of insiders who work together to make and fill jobs with lucrative incomes. Their ability to network other rich individuals and collectively work together for their benefits is the key to their success. This is what we need to be doing within the urban village. These rich people are just middlemen in the economy. At the end of the day, all the work and innovation happens on the lower levels. When employees have flexibility to create and improve on their work, this is where most good policies and ideas come from. It's you, not upper management, that creates innovation. Unfortunately for you, it's the upper management that makes bank on those ideas. Sometimes the best way to climb the ladder is to get a good idea, let your boss take credit, hope he gets promoted because of it, opening a new position where hopefully your boss will let you take his previous position when you sucked up for it. Kind of sad, is it not? So we need to dissolve holding companies, parent companies, and federal governments, and any entity that monopolizes the respective industries. We need to practice the same skill sets that the rich uses, social skills and keeping the wealth within its members. Sounds like a community to me, one that organizes the entire global system for their power and control. So how do we solve these issues? We simplify, we educate ourselves, we conduct ourselves and mold our society around scientific understanding, not government regulations. Remember, the truth, it's through science. It's not created by government. Technology and the economy, everything we create and build is ours. It's not theirs. So let's not allow a ruling class to dictate how we should live. We can do better than this. I want to leave you with one last thought. If you were on an airplane and for whatever reason the pilot is no longer capable of flying the plane and you have to choose between a doctor or a celebrity, who would you rather attempt to land the plane? One, with the gift of gab, the popular person in the room that you like and admire, or the one you don't know that has a disciplined and trained mind to perform complex problem-solving issues about human anatomy. Politics is a popularity contest. Career politicians develop communication skills and lobbying tactics to achieve their goals and have little regard about science. Global warming is a myth, right? Personally, I want people of science to make sound decisions about the direction we should head in. I want that doctor to attempt to land the plane. Thank you for watching my video. I have another one coming up right after this one that's going to go into how I think we can change this.